Good afternoon, everyone. Locksmith Eddy coming back to you live right here in sunny South Florida. We got a special treat for you today. What we're going to do today is we're going to be, we have a Rytan manual key machine here. This is a Rytan RY100. As you can see, it is a manual machine. You can just slide it back and forth. There's no lever on it for a semi-automatic. And what we're going to do is we're going to remove the electric AC motor. There's a 110 motor. We're going to replace it with a 12 volt DC motor. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to start removing the motor here. I actually removed the side plate, exposing the gear and the electrics over here. So I pulled the 4 screws out here to expose this, to get this ready to go. And now we're going to continue removing the motor. As you can see, it has Allen screws that come around here, and then there's nuts on the other side. So you can see the nuts right there. We're gonna pull those nuts out so we can remove this motor and slide the new one in. So what we'll do is we'll just mount the camera right here so that you can have an opportunity to see what we're doing here in the event you want to have a right-hand motor and you want to change it. You have an idea of what you have to do. All right, so we're going to go ahead and pull the screws out of here. You have washers on this side. You have the nut, the screw along with the washer and the nut on the other side. We're going to go ahead and pull the rest of them out of here as such. It's pretty a straightforward thing here as far as replacing these. The motor is an RY88 from Rytan. They run about $235, I do believe, and another $12 or something for shipping. So what we're going to do is we're going to hold the motor up as I remove the last of the screws in the back here. Push them right out here as such. We'll go ahead and get the last nut out of there as such. And it's on a slide, so you're able to slide it so you can adjust the tension on the belt. So there we go, we got that off. And then it's very simple. The motor just pulls right out just like that. As you can see, we're gonna have the wiring here. So what we'll do, we'll feed a little bit more wiring through here as such. And there it is right there. So we have the motor out. We'll take the screws out because we're going to reuse the screws on this motor. But for right now, we're just going to set this aside here. Just like that, we'll keep that aside. And we're going to take the brand new motor, which we have right here, and we're going to go ahead and install this motor right is the same way the old one went in. So we're going to go ahead and put the Allen screws back in here. You can see right here, this is the mount. Let me just take this off so you can see the mount. This is the mount right here. It's on slide, so we can slide and adjust the motor. Here's the belt on the back. And then the wiring, once we have it in, we'll go ahead and disconnect that wiring and wire it for the 12 volts, which will be very basically simple. We're going to cut a few of these wires out, run the 12 volt wires through, and then hook them up to some extension wires and then to a plug so we can plug it in and run it as a 12 volt. So let's go ahead and put this together. Set this back up here on here, and we shall continue installing our motor as is right now. So we're gonna keep that motor out of the way. I should just go ahead and cut the wires out, but we'll do that a little later. We're going to line this up. We're going to go ahead and put the belt on the back side of it. We'll start 2 screws in there just so it'll hold it up while we put the washers and the nuts back on. The back side, there's one, there's a screw, there's a nut. We'll go ahead and finger tighten them just to hold it in place. Just like that. Relatively a simple procedure. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure this out. I'm going to run the lower screws in now, just like that. Well, what it looks like now is motor has to be turned because the squares here are not exactly lined up the way they should be, it only goes in one way. So we didn't know that at the time. So what we're going to have to do is turn the motor 90 degrees. To make sure that the holes all line up. Pull this out. Turn it this way as such. Put that one in there as such. Let's try the lower screw. Well, what it seems like now is that the housing itself, the holes aren't drilled exactly. That's real nice. No wonder it's not fitting. It's because Rytan, when they drilled the holes, they're not exactly to match the housing here on there. So we're going to have to change strategies here and do something else. So what we need to do is move this back out of the way. Set this back up on the table as such. And we're probably going to have to drill these holes out a little larger in order to accommodate the plate here. So that's where we're at right now. So Rytan, you didn't do your job. You didn't drill the holes exactly the way they're supposed to fit into this housing onto your machine. As you can see, it's not going to work here. The top two screws fit in, but the lower screws don't fit in. So we're going to have to go ahead and file that out because, yeah, I can see right now there's no way that that's going to work. All right, so we're going to have to drill these out and come back in just a little while.